All right, everyone. So, this video we're going to look at how to set up your illustration file in Illustrator. This is the demo image that I kind of want to show you, like the final, really great example, actually, of Pentool. So this person, student. This is like their layers. You can kind of see that here. And we're gonna go through the steps of just how to set up your file. And this might look a little bit overwhelming, but you can do it, I promise. I'm gonna turn off their layers so you can kind of see the different parts of this, and then you'll kind of see the original photograph that they were working with. So the background, you can kind of see that rough fur. That's its own little layer, little body, more of the body. Just kind of look at the shapes that this person is using. See the paws, the head, and the ears, mask. Right, so you can kind of see it's just built up by a bunch of different shapes. Eyes, the whiskers, the nose. This, I think they're just like the extra details. Okay. This was their image that they started with. And they built slowly but surely on top of it. You're going to be creating a flat Illustrator version of your image. So it will look a little bit different from a photograph that's natural, since you're doing an illustration. When you're picking out your subject, just be mindful of this. If my biggest suggestion is to pick something that you like to look at. I've had many students, they pick their dog. Some people pick their relatives. But, choose wisely and, look at the image. And if you want to challenge, okay, but don't make it super overwhelming. Also, for the image that you're going to use to trace, please do not, and it won't work out for you. I've had this happen to a couple students. They pick an illustration of, let's say, Dory. It's already an illustration. Like, it doesn't work out. It's not very challenging, and it doesn't work out for your project. So you do not use something that is not yours. So my biggest recommendation is, like, look around you, find your favorite object, or of a stuffed animal of sorts, or a picture of a self-portrait is also a great option for this. You can take a picture of yourself, or you can do a relative, but find something that you want to be looking at, and you feel motivated to do it. And try several different options. Like, you can pick one, start it, and see. Some students, they've found that they think they want to do their dog. They start drawing their dog, and they end up not liking it after like 10 minutes. And then they realize that they don't draw animals well with the pen tool, right? It might be a different experience, but then they discover that they draw people really well. You'll see from some of the examples of the student work, it's a variety. I will say, if you are going to do an animal of sorts, when you get to when you get to the eyes, this animal is going to look a little, whatever your animal friend is going to look really strange until you put that glimmer in their eye, right? So here's the glimmer in their eye. This is without the glimmer in the eye. And every time, whenever somebody's working on their animal, their dog, their cat, their pet, and they haven't put the glimmer in, they're like, this is not my friend, right? So you need to kind of put the glimmer in their eye, and then all of a sudden, it's their friend. They're friendly again, right? It's who they know. You can see that it's a series of shapes here, right? Um, and so with practice, you have, a whole portrait to kind of start to really get into the pen tool. Start with a smaller area if you want to kind of feel your way into it. Even if all you start with is this nose, right? It it builds up. So, you start there and then you move on to the eyes, let's say. But it is like shape by shape, the illustration becomes more and more complicated, right? So I wanted to do kind of like that little intro just so you can kind of see where we're going, right? The texture of these things, you'll build up to it. But, you know, first step, look at your image, right? Look at the image. Kind of see, like, you know, where do I want to start? And perhaps you might find some students who have never touched Illustrator, they discover that they're actually really good pen tool portrait people. So, you know, you might be surprised at your strengths. I've found that most students find success when they put on a movie and they've got this, you know, in their on their lap, however you want to work it, and they finish faster because it's just more of a production at that point. Your trackpad, I've seen students work wonders with their trackpad on this project. I will recommend, if you have a mouse, or if there's your roommate or your mom or your dad has a mouse that is long forgotten, I would suggest to dust it off and use it for this particular project because it will be very helpful. But up to you. It depends on how you work. So I guess that was more of like an intro instead of the file setup. So I'll stop this video now, and then in the next video, we'll do the setup of your file. Okay? So there you go. So start thinking about your image or what that would be. Okay.